Hello, everyone. This is Varsha, and you are watching the series of success stories brought to you by Indian Achievers Forum. So, once again, we are here with you all to discuss about the success story of one more achievers of our. And this time, we have with us Mr. Tanish Chera, who is a student. But before we actually start the conversation with you all, let's quickly have a look at a very small video telling you about what we actually do.
Indian Achievers Forum is driven by a full-fledged advisory board. The board consists of experienced personalities who have excelled in their respective careers. Together, the forum organizes conferences, events, workshops, exhibitions, trade shows, and B2B initiatives in India as well as abroad. Where there is passion, there is achievement. And where there is achievement, there is Indian Achievers Forum.
Hi, Tanish. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good too. Thank you so very much. Okay, so before we actually start the question and answer segment, I really would like to know that how does it feel, to won two awards for your success?
Awesome feeling. I mean, how can you describe it in words? It's a great achievement for me too, and one of the very few in these times. So you need to celebrate every moment. That's what I believe in. So yeah, two IAF awards was I hadn't expected that, but anyways, two feathers to my cap. Thank you.
All right, so now moving ahead, firstly, I must say that it's a wonderful achievement to score 97.2% in your board exams. So tell us a bit about your achievement, please.
Today, I don't want to talk about this number 97.2%. I mean, every year someone or the other is the topper, but fine. I mean, it's a great achievement. I don't disregard that, but this number is very momentary. My success story, I consider that as my journey in my class 10. That is not what everyone can replicate. So about my journey, it's not about this number at all. In fact, all the successful people that you meet, they keep telling you the happiness that you get throughout the process cannot be expressed by the result. So that actually sums up my achievement. And
All right. So I wonder that what is your take on this phenomenon called Great 10?
agreed that it's grade 10 in India, especially. It's very important because it determines your college, your people call it your future and everything. But I think in India, as far as I have experienced, it's hyped a lot. People take it too seriously. It's only another year, but just the difference is that you're writing a paper given by the board, not by your school. Grade 10, I think it should have equal importance, just that people should not give it their entire life. I mean, I've seen my friends, some of my friends, I won't name them, but I have seen them compromise on so many other things, and just having to score some kind of percent, they miss out on so many other experiences in life. That is something I have been seeing throughout my process, but I have not been able to do anything about it, because at the end it's the mentality, right? And maybe it's their parenthood, or maybe it's their very important. Grade 10 determines your college, yes it does, but at the same time I would like to treat that grade 10 is not the grade 10 that it has been preached as. It's just another year. I conclude by that the achievements that you have, apart from your academics, actually shape you for your life. The achievements that you have inside academics shape your career, yes, no doubt, but different kinds of careers have different percentages of something called contextual knowledge.
Very rightly said, Tanish. All right. So now moving ahead, if you can please touch upon your achievements apart from academic.
So I started my year with some MUN conferences. They're model UN conferences, which take some weeks of research, and then you have to host it over the weekend. So yeah, I hosted some, I participated in some, and helped in organizing some. Having said that, I consider each and every achievement, may it be very small or may it be a huge award, everything is an achievement for me. So I can call my practicing for my cousin's Sangeet dances, or playing cricket every day. Everything is an achievement. So wherever I see myself standing above the average, that's an achievement. To name some others, I learned I did some courses about some new skills. I learned Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop. So all these I had been doing during my exams, and I also flew on some trips with my dad. So some were business trips, some were spiritual trips, and at whenever I used to fly, I had this in the back of my mind that whatever I'm going to do is going to help me somewhere at some point. You may have heard the analogy of Steve Jobs learning calligraphy. So I use that analogy to convince myself that everything you do is going to be worth it. And yeah, then coming to some sports, I played cricket every single day, at least 1 hour with some building friends and others. So whether I used to go for practice sessions or wherever, people used to be like, "He's a 10th grader. Do you think you can afford to give so much time behind study things apart from studying?" Then that shocked me, because why should you have to compromise on other things apart from studying? But I think I'm repeating that. Anyways, yeah, I also participated in my society's annual cricket tournament. It's called NVPL, and I got auctioned for the base price. And we had practice sessions every week, and more frequently during the phase of Jan Feb. And that was actually the period of my prelims. So again, clash but adventure. I love adventures. So yeah, when I used to go there, my captain used to be surprised. He's a 10th grader to practice for my cousin's Sangeet dances. My cousin used to be surprised. He's a 10th grader. Anyway, I mean, my dad's colleagues used to be surprised. But this surprise is something which I want to change. This is something which is so deep rooted that people now don't try to recognize it as a new trend. I wouldn't call it a trend. Maybe a new style of life. It's a lifestyle for me. So that's about it.
All right. So Tanish, you just mentioned about, playing a cricket tournament. So how do you think that, cricket has helped you out in your progress?
Not just cricket, I played badminton, but to talk more about cricket, um, so cricket is in my veins. And speaking about NVPL, which I mentioned, it has been happening every year, and I participated this year. None of my other 10th grader friends did, but I tried to encourage them. But at the end of the day, it's their decision. So yeah, there were practice sessions where I used to come home late at night, I think 1 a.m., 2 a.m. It's not a common time you'll find a Tanish Cheda. But anyways, I had a prelim the next day. Can you imagine that? So 1 a.m. I used to come back from cricket practice, and I had a prelim at 9 a.m. So I had to wake up at 7 a.m. But that adventure, I mean, it's not an adventure for many, but the sleep that I got those days was too good. I mean, I was so refreshed when I was writing my papers that I realized playing cricket actually helped me write my papers. And apart from that, playing sports, not just any sport, not just cricket, has immense benefit for your mind and body also. Body, of course, but mind, it calms you down. So whenever I was done with maybe writing a sample paper or anything, I used to go down play cricket. I used to be excited for that. That is exactly what you should find in your life. Things that you're excited for, and set your habits according to that. So yeah, cricket. I used to play cricket every day, as I said, even during my boards. My friends used to be surprised that this guy is in 10th. He has a board next day and he's not studying. He's playing cricket. But cricket was like a cult for me. It was like worship. So every single day, I think that is one good habit that I've been continuing till date, even during the lockdown.
All right. So from this, can we say that, more than your academics, it was your extra curriculum activities that made you get this result?
I can't point on something and say that, okay, maybe it's my academics or maybe it's my co-curriculars. But at the end, you see, as everyone knows, studying will bring you marks, but you just can't study. You just can't study. So for me, it's not really. And of course, I had a timetable, I had a study schedule, I had daily planners. But this mentality that studying is not everything this year, that I just cannot limit myself to academics. That mentality kind of gave me the freedom to try out all the different things that an average 10th grader couldn't possibly do. So yes, I was very disciplined, and all my teachers can vouch for that. So I was focused in my academics, but I was also focused that academics is not everything. Maybe that's a paradox in itself, but yes, having a very balanced life and all these kind of things that I talked about, this really boosted my confidence. So when you have the confidence that you can do something, that's where I remind you of a quote that Steve Jobs, I think, right, yeah, people who are crazy to think that they can change the world actually do. So one another thing that helped me was the freedom of time, because I had not enrolled for any tuition classes or any extra coaching. So naturally I had a lot of time in my timetable, because I had the freedom of time, I had the freedom of thought process, and I had the freedom of my priorities. So I think that is what it all adds up to this one result. Again, to conclude, I cannot point on any one thing and say that that's what brought me my 97.2.
So you just mentioned that you have not taken any tuitions or any extra coaching for your studies, is it?
I mean, I have never felt that it has ever worked for me. So every time that I did, it's actually a fun story with me. From grade 3 to grade 8, I have always appeared for IPM. IPM is a math exam. And till 7th, I have never done tuition classes, and I always qualified for the mega final. For 7th and 8th, these were the only 2 years where I didn't. And guess what? These were the only 2 years where my mom enrolled me for tuition classes for IPM. So yeah, I have realized that if I don't do tuition classes, I can actually curate a study program for myself, because I am the only one who can recognize my needs, my strengths, my weak points, my pains, gains, everything is in my mind. So putting that into my study schedule, my timetable, would really help me bring the time to do all these other things which I mentioned earlier. So yes, I feel like I'm the most productive when I have the time entirely to myself. And I also tried some courses from Vedantu and Byju's and all, but I felt that I'm a very fast learner. So that was really wasting my time. Yeah, just to conclude, who knows my strengths and weaknesses better than myself, right? So I never enrolled for tuitions, and I'm still not.
Amazing, Tanish. All right, so now before concluding our lovely session, what is the message that you would like to give to the coming batches?
So the main message behind my story is that before that, a little disclaimer. I'm not trying to endorse or enforce this kind of lifestyle onto you. I'm just saying that it has worked for me, and it may or may not work for you. But what I'm trying to give out this message is that don't be burdened by all these eyes around you. I have felt some extent of pressure myself, but just try not to think about what everyone else has been thinking about you. So my dad says this wonderful quote, "क्या कहेंगे लोग, ये है सबसे बड़ा रोग." That really stuck with me. And the more you try to avoid everybody else's say, the more you can focus on yourself. And when I focused on myself, I could do everything, right from doodling for my room wall. I actually doodled for some magazines. So art, cricket, sports, everything. I had a leg in everything. So basically, when you're focused at something, even big distractions cannot distract you. But when you're not focused, when you're like, okay, maybe this, maybe that, that's when the smallest of distractions, the shortest of Netflix episodes, or maybe the snack craving or anything, this is applicable for all walks of life. So just to conclude, I'll give you this food for thought from my math teacher, Pradeep sir. He says, you cannot buy a burger with 10 rupees. To buy a burger, you need to have 50 rupees. 10 rupees, you can only have a vada pav. So that's pretty obvious, but it has a very deep meaning behind that. And I like that because I'm a foodie also. But anyways, thank you for having me, and I hope you learned something from all these minutes you watched.
Surely, Tanish. All right. So thank you so very much for being with us today. It was pleasure talking to you, and I wish you all the very best for all your future projects too. And may you continue to rise and shine the way you are doing. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.